One of the kids in my catechism program shared this meme, and I want to analyze it with you. So it says, if a 16-year-old wanted to adopt a child, the government wouldn't allow it. She isn't done with her education. She can't financially support herself. She isn't a legal adult. But if she gets pregnant, the government can ban her from getting an abortion. How is that logical? Okay, so what's going on here? So this is presenting an argument. It's a specific argument. It's an argument of analogy or an argument of comparison. Basically, what it's saying, there are two cases, and these two cases are similar enough that you would have to treat them the same. But because we don't treat them the same, we are being inconsistent. And consistency is a virtue of logic or a virtue of argumentation, right? So that's why it asks there at the end, how is that logical, right? So they're trying to point out a consistency. Okay, so what is a consistency? What is it that they are comparing? Well, they're comparing two cases, adoption and abortion, and they're saying, in adoption, we want to say that a 16-year-old cannot adopt a child because they just can't have a child in general, right? They aren't done with their education, they don't have the money, and maybe she doesn't have all the wisdom that a legal adult might have in raising a child, right? So she can't have a child in the first case. But in the second case, the government forces her to have a child, even though she might be 16, even though she might not be done with her education, even though she might not have the money to support it, and even though she might not have the mental development to have a child, right? So you have two cases, two girls in the same situation. In the first case, we're saying you can't have a child, but in the second case, we're saying you can have a child, and that's being inconsistent. Okay, so is this a good argument? No, it's not. Simply for the fact that the biggest difference is that in adoption, you don't kill an innocent human being, but through abortion, you do kill an innocent human being, right? So because that's an important difference, you can't really compare the two. The comparison isn't a very good one. So what would that look like if we actually applied that difference into both cases? Well, it would look something like this. It would look like being told that I can't adopt a child, and then when I'm told I can't adopt a child, I'm going to go to the orphanage and kill an orphan. Because that's what abortion is more like. It's more like being told you can't have a child and then killing an innocent child, killing the innocent baby in the womb. So that would be a better comparison. And that's the main reason why this argument fails. But there's another way to tackle this. Basically, you can say, okay, so if these two things are being treated differently, which way are we going to go, right? So for example, we can say that, yeah, abortions should not be illegal or they should not be banned. And that's what they're trying to say. But another way that we can push against this is saying, well, okay, why can't we just, in order to be consistent, there's another way to be consistent in just saying, well, okay, let's just allow 16-year-olds to adopt. Now, that's probably not a very compelling response, but if we're going to be talking about logic and consistency, that is one way to kind of skirt around the problem. But the main issue, the main problem, the main weakness with this argument is that abortion kills an innocent child and not adopting doesn't kill anybody. That's the main difference. That's why this meme doesn't work. That's why it's not compelling. And you shouldn't be sharing silly things like this, especially if you're in my catechism class.